There are three very interesting stories doing the rounds at the moment. All of them are speculative, of course. The first one is that Liz Truss is nowhere to be seen. So, where is she hiding? Why is she hiding on a day when she should be out communicating her ideas or defending her position or her policy? Well, of course, her position has gone nowhere since she jettisoned Kwasi's package. You know, she doesn't know what to do. The second story concerns Anne Widdecombe. Now, Anne Widdecombe and I have a little history. So we were supposed to meet, I believe, for a what was it? Election blind date, and for various people, for various reasons, it was fouled up, and so we didn't get our chance to square off. I think she would be a tremendous dinner date. And I think it would be great fun to have a proper chat with her. I don't think we would agree on very much because she's slightly more to the right of the party, and I am so wet. I remember when I first met Piers Corbyn, Jeremy Corbyn's brother. He asked me what political colour I was, and I said, well, I think I'm bluer than you, but when it comes to education, I'm probably to the left of your brother. At that point, he hadn't told me who he was, and he was rather luxuriating in anonymity. And his response was, "No one's to the left of Jeremy." And I belong to that sort of wet side of the Conservative Party, which I think doesn't exist anymore. So I'm defenestrated, rather like somebody who's challenged Mr. Putin. Anne Widdecombe was on television, I think, late last night, and on GB News. And she has said that the problem with the Liz Truss mini budget, what's now become minuscule, is that there is no Conservative leader to replace her, and that her attempt at a Conservative budget, which she insists is what Liz Truss was trying to do, was scuppered, defeated by her crass delivery. And I think the problem really is that the content was wrong. But yeah, crass delivery, she said it wasn't okayed by the OCR, the banks weren't prepped, and the people weren't prepared. She also says that replacing Liz Truss now is an impossibility because there is no Conservative politician lined up to replace her. What is needed now for the country is stability, and a further new Prime Minister and potential new cabinet would not be desirable. She says that there's no one capable of defeating Sir Keir Starmer with Conservative views, and therefore it might just as well be desirable to have Sir Keir in place. Why have a Conservative politician who is putting forward Labour views when you can have the real thing? I must say I quite appreciate that line of argument. The third story which is running around is, well, there's two parts to it. Number one, the idea has been put about, I'm sure it comes from the Liz Truss circle, that Sajid Javid was never considered as a possible chancellor. Liz Truss knows what is good, or she sat in cabinet for long enough to know who is good and who is not. And she's laughing at the suggestion that she should ever have considered Sajid Javid. I am laughing at the suggestion that she should ever be considered to be in a place to know who is good and who is not, and that she should be given that position of eminence to make a decision about competence, given her performance over the last few weeks. Competence is not something about which La Truss can possibly make any form of comment. And on that subject is the other point, the sort of B part of number 3, which is that some people have started putting out lines that particularly social media and influencers. I always get that word mixed up with effluence. I think probably they are almost interchangeable. But influencers and podcasters apparently have given way with reference to Liz Truss to snide bullying, and she's very upset about it. Well, I think, if you put yourself up to be Prime Minister of our country and then you can't do the job, to be criticised by anyone and everyone is not bullying. It's simply stating the facts and telling you to get out of the job. If you can't do it, find somebody else who can. It's not bullying, and you can't cry bully. So this is an inappropriate, inappropriate and slightly laughable line from a thoroughly stupid Prime Minister. Thoroughly stupid. It's not her gender or her inexperience that I criticise. It's the quality of her mind and the quality of her presentational ability. It's those two things I criticise. Number one, her mind seems to be all over the place. And number two, her political skills, which are basically about presentation. In this country, we have two types of people who are managing our government. Number one are the people who are doing the presentation, which are called politicians in our country, and number two are the people who are actually doing the work, who are called civil servants. And so we only expect the politicians to do one thing, which is to present. Maybe to have a few ideas, maybe to do a bit of debating. But their chief skill is presentation. So when you have a prime minister who fails at that chief skill, she needs to go. She is singularly useless. Singularly useless. And it was evident long, long ago when she was Foreign Secretary, and even before that. She was singularly useless. And I don't know how she has managed to climb her way, to claw her way to the top of this ladder and peer down and tell us to stop bullying. The only response to that is to giggle with contempt.